There are many gods in Dungeons & Dragons lore, and every setting has its own array of deities. Greater gods, intermediate gods, lesser gods, demigods, quasi-gods, dead gods, forgotten gods, and so on. There are some different approaches between the settings, and there are a lot of things they share in common too. Since this could quickly get out of control, let's narrow things down to just the Forgotten Realms, which is the most prevalent official D&D setting as of the 5th edition era. There are lots of deities in Forgotten Realms, and they are a diverse bunch. Gods of creation, knowledge, battle, and yes, evil. Among the celestial hierarchies and divine planes, we also find a dark side. Today we delve into the heart of wickedness, exploring the question that many adventurers dare not ask: who is the most evil god in the Forgotten Realms? Steel your courage, my brave companions, as we embark on this quest to uncover the most twisted philosophies, the most corrupt motivations, and the worst atrocities that make these gods the most evil of the Forgotten Realms. Tiamat, goddess of greed and chromatic dragons, lawful evil or chaotic evil in alignment. Domains, trickery. Tiamat is the five-headed dragon goddess associated with chromatic dragons, embodying the greed for treasure, the envy of others and their possessions, and the desire for power. Depending upon which edition and even which module you're looking at, her alignment is either lawful evil or chaotic evil, which those are the alignments for the standard chromatic dragons. Tiamat's primary motivation is for dragonkind to conquer and dominate. She seeks to gather and unite chromatic dragons under her rule, amassing power to achieve control and ascendancy over all she surveys. There is no doubt that Tiamat is malevolent, cruel, and callous, and that she is willing to harm innocent people to get what she desires. But her level of evil stops short of the worst of the villainous gods. Keep in mind, she has each of the 5 chromatic dragons as heads, so while black and green are thoroughly evil, red and white have more of a savage, brutish, lesser form of evil, and blue has a more lawful, methodical nature, and really is only evil in certain opportunistic ways. Ghaunadaur, god of oozes, slimes, abominations, and outcasts. Alignment, chaotic evil. Domain, war. Also known as that which lurks and the elder eye. Ghaunadaur blurs the line between God and Great Old One. He also has some similarities with the demon lord Jublex. He represents grotesque and subterranean horrors, and generally subverts and rebels against the other gods. He's known for his insatiable hunger. Ghaunadaur seeks to expand his influence, consuming and corrupting everything in his path, offering power to those who embrace the grotesque and the revolting. His worshippers are really not that many, but those cults devoted to him capture living persons to offer as sacrifices. During this ritual, the priest transforms into an ooze, then engulfs and dissolves the sacrificial victims. Ghaunadaur is very nasty. He's a vile deity, but his limited influence makes it difficult to consider him the most evil of all. Shar, goddess of darkness, night, secrets, loss, and forgetfulness. Alignment, neutral evil. Domains, death and trickery. Mistress of the night and the lady of loss, Shar embodies the concept of the night and the hidden mysteries, representing the darker aspects of the cosmos and the unseen depths. She encourages secrecy and the unknown. She wants truths to be veiled or locked away, and she thrives on concealment. I have to wonder if she is the patron deity of the Forgotten Realms, as forgetting is part of her divine portfolio. Shar stands as an antithesis to Selûne, the goddess of the moon and light. While Selûne represents illumination and guidance, Shar symbolizes the shadowy, enigmatic, and oftentimes malevolent forces dwelling in the depths of the night, or the literal depths underground. Shar also created the Shadow Weave, which was a dark alternative to the Weave, the all-present source of arcane magic in the Forgotten Realms. Anyone who used the Shadow Weave became corrupted by it, sort of like the dark side of the Force in Star Wars. Shar plotted with the chaotic evil god Cyric and was instrumental in his murdering of the goddess of magic, Mystra. Shar wanted to take control of the weave herself once Mystra was disposed, but when Mystra died, the weave collapsed entirely, and with it, it took down the shadow weave. So the tragic irony here is that the goddess of loss lost her own greatest creation. Shar spreads suppression, despair, misery, gloom, and overall a sort of pessimism. She has a very negative influence on the world. There is no doubt that she is evil, but her motivations and her behaviors are not the absolute worst that's possible, so we must keep looking for the foulest of the Forgotten Realms deities. Lolth, goddess of drow, spiders, and darkness. Alignment, chaotic evil. Domains, trickery, and war. The queen of the demon web pits, and the most prominent of the drow deities. Lolth is actually a demon, she is not a celestial, and she even resides in her own layer of the abyss, called the aforementioned demon web pits. To call her cruel would be an understatement. She demands utter obedience and fealty, and at the same time, she promotes deceit, schemes, and assassination among the very drow themselves. She thrives on sowing treachery and chaos, and her most favored priestesses and matron mothers are essentially emulations of she herself. Manipulative, cold-blooded, fear-mongering, severe, and crafty. Whenever you see an image of Lolth, and she appears as an alluring and sensual dark elf, remember that this is a trick. Her true form is a massive demon spider that wants to torture and or devour you. Keep in mind that in D&D, there is nothing redeeming at all about demons. They want to spread suffering and destroy everything. They want to tear the world and all the planes down to pieces, to fragments, such that the abyss consumes all the cosmos. Demons are literally living manifestations of the abyss itself. That's Lolth, a demon queen worshipped as a goddess. She is as harsh as she is unpredictable. She rewards those who serve her well by offering power, yet she swiftly and severely punishes those who fail to meet her impossibly high standards. Her capricious nature keeps her followers on the edge in the volatile power structure of the Underdark. Lolth is without a doubt one of the most nefarious gods, but her impact and influence is somewhat limited. It's really rare to see a non-drow that worships her, and not even all drow worship her, as there are some who either escape her society or some that live in other drow communities altogether that follow different gods. Bane, god of tyranny, fear and hatred. Alignment, lawful evil. Domains, order, war. Bane, also known as the Black Hand and the Black Lord, is an iconic deity who is defined by both his evil nature and his adherence to a strict code of law. Bane embodies an essence of ambition and power. He seeks domination and control over all, desiring to subjugate and to rule with an iron fist. His pursuit of power knows no bounds, and he thrives on the suffering and the fear of those he dominates. He revels in the suffering of others. He finds pleasure in their subjugation. He embodies malice and hatred, exhibiting an extreme lack of empathy, no compassion whatsoever. Bane's nature is fueled by his contempt for others and a desire to dominate and destroy his enemies. Along with his malevolent nature, Bane is inherently lawful. He upholds a rigid code of conduct within his domain, enforcing structure, hierarchy, and order among his followers, and in the execution of his plans. His pursuits are achieved through systematic, calculated methods. He values consistency and order in achieving his goals, and he maintains authority over his domain. As awful as Bane is, you could argue that under his tyranny, there is a form of stability, there is civilization, and there is discipline. Because of this, we cannot consider him the most vile of the vile. Bhaal, god of murder. Alignment, neutral evil. Domain, death. the lord of murder. Bhaal is the Faerunian god of violence and ritualistic killing. He is an infamous and malevolent deity, often associated with assassins and murderous cultists, though he is dead in the current timeline. Well, as dead as a god can be. His followers seek power through bloodshed and acts of killing. Bhaal was linked to a prophecy concerning the death of his mortal offspring, which led to a surge of his followers vying for power through deadly conflicts and scheming, aiming to control the fate of Bhaal's lineage. This is just one quick reference, but as you can imagine, wherever his religion is practiced, killings will occur. Bhaal had 3 avatar forms: the Slayer for urban areas, the Ravager for rural regions, and Khazgoroth, a shape-shifting form. The Slayer appeared as a male humanoid corpse with lacerations that wept black pus. The Ravager was a 30-foot-tall monster with fiery eyes and horns, and Khazgoroth as a versatile, shape-shifting monstrosity. There is an irony with Bhaal, as he began as a mortal, an ambitious adventurer who eventually rose to godhood, only to then be slain by Cyric, a powerful mortal who claimed much of Bhaal's domains and also ascended to godhood thereafter. Bhaal foresaw his death in advance, and before he was killed, he committed mass impregnation of women in order to sire a demi-race called the Bhaal spawn. He had foreseen his own demise, so he wanted to create these spawn in order to carry out his goals and his will after his downfall. So it goes without saying that a god of murder is incredibly evil, and little more than bloodshed and suffering will follow wherever his religion is practiced. As objectively wrong and heinous as this is, it can still get even worse. Better stoke those torch flames, my brave companions. It's about to get really ugly. Asmodeus, god of devils, intrigues, tyranny, indulgence, and diabolic contracts. Alignment, lawful evil. Domains, knowledge, order, and trickery. Asmodeus is one of the most iconic and malevolent figures in D&D. He is the most powerful archdevil, a devil god, and ruler of the 9 hells. Asmodeus is driven by an insatiable hunger for power and control. He aims to expand his influence beyond the 9 hells, seeking dominion over the other planes and realms, and he constantly schemes to advance his authority. His nature is deeply rooted in malevolence and deceit. Asmodeus is willing to employ any means necessary, including treachery, manipulation, and infernal bargains to achieve his ends. He delights in mortals being tempted or coerced into evil, such that their souls are damned to hell. Such souls then become currency, essentially chattel slaves, and they can also be transformed into more devils. Asmodeus is the epitome of lawful evil. The amount of corruption, suffering, and oppression he and his forces perpetrate is on a level far beyond most beings in existence. However, he is still not the most evil god, because, for all of his hellishness, he and his devils at least serve some function. They fight endlessly against the demons of the infinite abyss, which would otherwise infiltrate the world and all the planes and destroy everything, reducing all of existence to a festering, churning maelstrom of chaos. Cyric, god of lies, deception, and strife. Alignment, chaotic evil. Domain, trickery. Cyric, also known as the Prince of Lies, is a malevolent deity defined by his deceits and treacheries, and really he is quite insane. He is best known for the murder of another major deity, Mystra. She was the goddess of magic, responsible for maintaining the Weave, the source of arcane magic in the realms. Cyric's assassination of Mystra was a catastrophic event that caused the Spell Plague. This led to arcane magic not functioning for an entire decade, and a radical altering of the world and other planes. This treacherous act sent shockwaves through the entire pantheon of gods. It had far-reaching and disastrous consequences. His murder of Mystra was such a shocking betrayal, as she was the one who had aided him in his ascension to godhood to begin with. It goes to show how unstable, unpredictable, and insane Cyric is. Cyric's portfolio encompasses lies, deception, suffering, turmoil, murder, and madness. He represents the darkest aspects of chaos and trickery, often luring followers through promises of power and through manipulation. These followers are the kind of people who are drawn to deception, to anarchy, those who seek power through the exploitation of chaos. His influence is often seen in individuals who thrive on spreading untruths and discord. In a way, Cyric is very similar to Joker, the arch-nemesis of Batman. I've thought about who is more evil, Asmodeus or Cyric. It's difficult to decide, but I argue that Cyric is the more evil of the two. This is because Asmodeus' manipulations still allow for some degree of free will in the victim. He's a master of tempting and tricking people into sin and damnation. The amount of suffering and corruption he causes is truly incalculable. But at least people have some chance to resist him or to choose not to participate in his schemes. Cyric, on the other hand, follows no structure, no code at all. He will commit virtually any evil act, even upon the most innocent of people. He would unleash cataclysms that kill untold numbers of innocents, that destroy their very realities, just so he could use the opportunity to seize more power, and to cackle psychotically at the massive disaster he caused. But now, if we dare, I believe I have found another god who is even more revolting, even more debased, malicious, sadistic. Behold, the vilest of the vile, the most evil of evil deities, Moander, god of corruption and rot. Alignment, chaotic evil. Domains, corruption, destruction, evil, and slime. Also known as the Darkbringer, the rotting god and old moldy foul god, Moander is a repugnant and horrid deity, or perhaps I should say he was a repugnant and horrid deity, as he is presently dead, or at least imprisoned and sealed away. That's about as dead as a god can get. In fact, he has made comebacks before, so it should not be a total surprise if he manages to do so again. This is also why you'll notice that his domains don't look familiar to 5th edition players. They are actually domains from 3rd edition, back when there used to be lots of different domains. Just to give an idea of how gross and vile this god is, his main avatar was the Abomination, a rotting mass of carcasses and putrefied vegetation. The entire surface of the avatar was covered in eyes and fanged maws of different shapes, sizes, and belonging to different kinds of creatures. All the mouths mumbled, cackled, screeched, and emitted deafening, uncontrollable, chaotic ravings. They chanted Moander's name in demented choruses. This lumbering mountain of rot produced putrid black slime, shedding it behind everywhere it went. It absorbed any living or dead matter, adding more and more to its body size. It went on a rampage through the world, targeting elves more than anyone else, attacking those who are beautiful, graceful, and close to nature, giving them all agonizing deaths and reanimating them as grotesque horrors that went on spreading the corruption and the onslaught. Gods and nations fought back against Moander. His existence, his goals, his atrocities are so extremely opposed to all that is right that he provokes retribution from most all life forms, like an immune system responding to an invasive parasite. But he's no mere parasite. He is an intelligent being, a completely evil one at that. He has even taken on a humanoid-like avatar to promote his worship as a supposed neutral deity that serves a necessary role in nature by promoting the decay of dead matter so it can be recycled into the environment. All of which was a deceptive ploy, of course. There is nothing neutral or natural to the type of corruption and decay he brings. Much like what we saw with the demon lord Orcus in my Most Evil Demon video, Moander doesn't just want to obliterate everything and everyone. He wants it all to be suffering and agony. He wants everything and everyone to become his twisted slave. All that is true, all that is good, and all that is beautiful must be torn down and remade into his horrific image. Because of that, I dub Moander the most evil god in the Forgotten Realms. Let's just hope he never succeeds in coming back again. There are a number of other evil gods in the Forgotten Realms and other D&D settings, and they can really make for powerful villains and adventure-fueling conflicts. One thing I can say for sure is that the more you add deities, philosophies, and religious themes into your game, the more interesting and compelling they become. I suppose you could say we're all religious by our nature, whether we are conscious of it or not. If you're interested in a look at gods of other alignments or gods of other settings, leave a comment and let me know. I also want to say thank you to all my supporters over on Patreon who help make it possible for me to create these videos. If you yourself are curious, go take a look. There's a link down in the video description. The Patreon has different levels to it. I put out content every single month. Some of it is actually free public content and some of it is exclusive stuff. An extra special thanks goes out to the patrons Adam Wood, Vince Villelli, Nick Thy Pirate King, Locke Monroe, and Nicholas A. Thanks a ton, guys. You're awesome. Until we meet again, everybody, don't forget to say your prayers and be very careful who or what it is that you pray to. And as always, may your adventures be many.